It is the Happy Camper Radio Show, episode 232. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no question about it, my friends. Hang around with us long enough, we will make a happy camper out of you. Daniel and I just got back from a 3-day camping vacation. 3 days for some people, an overnight trip for me, and I'm going to be talking a lot about what I experienced here on my final primitive camping trip ever. Yeah, that's hard to get that out. But, you know, hey, better days are ahead. Better days are ahead, that's for sure. And we'll talk about it. Stick around for us. Episode 232 of the Happy Camper Radio Show is coming your way right now.
Happy Camper Radio.
And the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and now on Odyssey, Samsung, and Player FM. You can find us on the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and if you want to be a part of our studio audience and see us do the show right there behind the scenes, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, Daniel, you look refreshed.
I'm always refreshed after a camping trip.
Okay, everything put away? Everything dried out?
Gotta put the pop-up away. Gotta organize some stuff. We're trying to be a little bit more organized with our stuff. We're always, tweaking stuff and, making subtle adjustments to our, plans. So
I think anybody with camping in their blood will do that.
Yep.
You're always going to look for a way of doing things better.
Yep.
Okay. But as you saw when you came in, I'm still drying things out.
Yeah.
I'm still cleaning things up. Well, I think everything is pretty much dried out right now. But, yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. And for me, it was a heartfelt decision that I was not going to do primitive camping anymore. I joke around a lot on the show here and, a lot in person that anytime I go camping, it's going to rain. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, it was so bad, Daniel. I just had to make the decision that I can't do this anymore. It's not funny. It really isn't. But for me, it's been a great run.
Yeah.
This is not going to diminish my camping spirit whatsoever.
I hope so.
It's not going to have any effect on the show whatsoever.
All right.
All right. But I am making some decisions right now as to what I'm going to do and what the future of camping holds for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, my dog, Sadie, who is going to go camping with me anywhere I go.
Oh,
okay?
Puppy.
But anyway, Daniel, before we go on, we've got some shout-outs here. Let's say hello to Kelly Hunter Sexton of Canyonville, Oregon, Tawny Marco, and one of our local listeners, somebody you know.
Yeah.
Julian Spence.
Yep.
All right, did I pronounce her name right?
Yes.
I think before the show I was calling her Julian, right?
If you didn't, she'll tell me, so...
Okay, yeah, and then I'm sure I'll hear it from you.
There you go. It's not
but
me.
anyway, they like us on Facebook. And one other thing, Daniel, I want to reach out and say hello to the fine folks at the Rusk KOA Holiday Campground in Rusk, Texas. Now, I'll tell you, if you ever go to their website, if I get to Texas, Daniel, that's going to be my first stop right there.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful campground with a lot of amenities, a lot of activities.
Mm-hmm.
And what is also special about the Rusk KOA Campground, they have a live stream radio station.
Ooh.
And Happy Camper Radio is now found on the Rusk KOA live stream. Yes, from what I understand, it's every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. You can catch Daniel and I on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And you don't have to actually be there to listen to the program. I've got a link for it right there on our Facebook page. If you want to check it out, it's a great, great live stream radio station.
All right.
Well put together, and my hat's off to those folks out there. The Rusk KOA Holiday Campground in Rusk, Texas. Let's give everybody a nice round of applause, Daniel. Yeah. And for our folks following us on Facebook, thank you so very much for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Would you like to be on the show with Daniel and I? Get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com or
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Daniel, we've got a lot to talk about here.
Yes, we do.
Now, we went to Pine Mountain, Georgia. To
FDR State Park, largest state park in Georgia, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Putting that out there.
Now, nobody can predict the weather. Okay.
You can.
You're darn right about
You
that.
can.
And I think, if you looked at any of the responses from Facebook, it says, yeah, you want to go camping, you want to know when it's going to rain, just follow Skip.
There you go.
No, but Daniel, I have been in a lot of rainstorms, throughout the years, and it's almost a tradition for me. When I come home, I've got to actually set everything up in the backyard and clean it up and put it away. But this particular trip, what happened there, Daniel, was too much for me. It was just the icing on the cake. There's just no way I can primitive camp again after what I experienced there at FDR State Park. And it's nothing to do with the park, okay? They've got a beautiful park there. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my heavens.
It.
But when we started our trip, we got started, I think, about 11 o'clock, 11:30 that day. And the temperature was 95 degrees when we arrived. Oof. Now, this was probably the longest time it ever took me to set up camp. I'm figuring somewhere around 3 hours because, Sadie, my girl here, I had to keep an eye on her. She's not no young puppy, and, the temperatures outside are brutal. I always kept, some ice water even inside the truck for her.
Yep.
But she was in there most of the time with the air conditioning running. And myself, I was outside taking everything off the trailer and unpacking and getting camp set up. But still, the heat was so brutal that I had to stop there, every now and then and grab a quick cold drink and get inside the truck and relax. And while I was doing that, I was looking at the temperatures and the forecast on my iPhone, because I wanted to make sure, everything was going to be fine for the next few days. Now, there were a chance of thunderstorms later Wednesday night. I didn't let that bother me. All right. But after I finally got camp all set up, and I think it was maybe around 7 o'clock that night, I could hear the thunder roaring.
Yep.
Okay, from the distance. And it took a while to actually reach the campsite. But then the rain came down. And Daniel, I had never been in a rainstorm like I was Wednesday night.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Now, you were still on the road.
Yep.
We get started about what time?
I probably got started around, probably around 6:30, 7. We had to stop somewhere to eat dinner, but then, as we were coming down, it was raining, so, you go a little bit slower when you have a trailer, but then you go even slower when you have a trailer and it's raining. So we got down there a little later than we were anticipating, so.
All right.
It was probably around 8:30-ish. Thank goodness the rain let up right when we pulled in for a while. It was just kind of drizzling, and we, did our thing because we go into automatic pilot. We're like, get it up, crank it up, put the side, put the thing, get in. And then after you get in, you're good.
Now, from the park entrance, I think it was about a 3-mile drive way back into the forest to actually reach the welcoming center. It was a nice little
It's a big
hike.
hill. It's a big hill you go up to the mountain because that's Pine Mountain on the top of there.
Unlike you, I've never been there before, but I went ahead to check in. And, of course, I wasn't going to leave Sadie in the truck.
Right.
As hot as it was, even with the air conditioner on, I never would consider, leaving her in there and thinking that everything is going to be okay. So I walked up with her on a leash to the welcoming center, and I stuck my head in the door, and I announced myself, hey, I'm here to register. It's a $5 fee for anybody, who wants to, visit the park. And I told them, I said, look, I've got my Labrador Retriever here on a leash. Oh, bring her on in. Yes, very, very friendly folks down there. And I walked up to the counter, and you remember what we talked about last week on the show about, pet preparation?
Yep.
I saw 2 pictures hanging on the wall behind this nice young lady, and they were lost pets. And it says reward found, and they've got a phone number there. Daniel, my heart just sunk into my stomach because we were talking about this just last week.
Yep.
And I says, I have no doubt it happened somewhere before. And sure enough, why would those pictures be at the park? Probably the dogs got lost somewhere in the park. Who knows what the circumstances were? Could it have been rain? Could it have been a thunderstorm? Could the dogs maybe have seen a deer and took off after it? We don't know.
Yeah.
All right. But anytime that a pet gets separated from their owner. It's the same as a child getting separated from a parent.
Yeah.
All right. It's very heartbreaking. So, I hope and pray that, they've taken those pictures down and the dogs have been reunited with their owner. But I wasn't about to let that happen with Sadie. She's been by my side, the whole time, and she is never once off her leash the entire time we were there. Okay. But, brother-in-law Luke showed up a little bit before you. Now, he had this little tent of his. And Daniel, it kind of reminds me of my younger years. Hey, okay, I can set this up. Look, this rain's not going to bother me. Of course, the heavy rain had already passed.
Yeah.
When that storm came through there, Daniel, I'm going like, oh, heavens, I hope this is not going to continue throughout the entire trip.
Yeah.
But while I was sitting in the truck, I had no earthly idea of what was going on inside my 10-person tent.
Yeah.
All right. I had no idea that the rain had somehow made its way inside there. Let me tell you, I have been through many rainstorms before in my camping years, but nothing like this. Even with the rain fly on, Daniel, it had no effect.
Wow.
Yeah, water somehow made it inside that tent.
Yikes.
And it wasn't until later on that night, all right, after you had already arrived and was probably in your sleeping
I was
bag.
out.
Yeah, you were
that
out
rain
of it
put
at
me
that
to
point.
sleep. That was amazing sleep I was getting.
Yeah, I waited till the rain passed, and I finally got out of the truck and took my flashlight and went inside the tent. And what I saw, Daniel, I made the decision right then and there that this would be the last primitive camping trip for me. All right. I mean, I'm 65, going on 66 right now. I still feel young, all right, but, I've got to do something different.
Yeah.
Now, this is not going to diminish my camping spirit whatsoever. It's not going to have any effect on the show.
Good.
I mean, we're still going to be doing what we do.
Right.
And we're still going to be bragging about camping. We're going to be talking about camping all the time. Okay. But what I'm going to do next, we'll save that for another episode.
All right.
Okay.
I've been waiting.
Yeah. But right now, the main thing is I've got to get this gear cleaned up and I got to get it put away, and I'm going to sell it. Simple as that. Okay. But, there's better days are ahead. Okay. So I made the decision that night that I would no longer do the primitive camping, that Sadie and I, we spent the rest of the evening in the truck. But the next day, I was going to pack up and leave.
Yeah. We came over the next morning, too. You were eating breakfast with Luke.
Yeah, and you hadn't even walked over to the tent to see what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was that bad. So, I got up about 4 o'clock that morning. I mean, I did get a few Z's inside the truck.
Okay.
But I got up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I took Sadie with me and went over to the bathhouse, got a shower, got cleaned up.
Yep.
And then I went over. I had this big canopy set up.
Yep.
All right. That big 10 by 10 canopy. I had it over the picnic table, and I had all my totes and everything lined up. But that was all soaked and wet.
Oof. So
So I started drying things off. I started looking inside my containers there and started organizing a little bit. And I had that 3-burner skillet.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we know about the skillet. We love that thing.
I'm not getting rid of that.
Oh, that thing is nice.
That is, connected up to a propane tank. But, I had that connected and I had it cleaned up. And, in fact, we did make burgers and hot dogs.
Oh, really?
Before the rain moved in.
Oh, okay.
So we did have, we had a pretty decent dinner. But considering what happened overnight, it was time for me to go ahead and just consider a light breakfast before I started packing things up and loading it back up into the trailer and heading home. It was a very depressing thing for me. I had really looked forward to doing the show down there. I know you did too.
I know. You promised us dinner. We had to figure out dinner for Thursday night.
Hey, dinner is back here in the freezer.
I
so
heard.
we're gonna go ahead and have dinner here on the back patio.
All right.
Not long from now. But I do want to apologize to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, because I know you were looking forward to us doing the show down there. But some people say, Skip, you're jinxed. You're cursed. But it's bad weather. You make your reservations far in advance, and you just never know.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen.
Got to roll with it.
Yeah. So, whether I'm going to do a pop-up or whether I'm going to do a travel trailer or motorhome, I know I'm not going to do a fifth wheel. My truck will not haul that. I'll make that announcement on the next episode of Happy Camper Radio. You might be very surprised.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So, Daniel, you were there for 2 more days.
I was.
Okay. Now, and I bet there wasn't a drop of rain, wasn't there?
Not a single drop, but it was hot. It was hot and it was humid. Actually, later on in that day when you left, we were just sitting around on the trailer and we're like, okay, do we want to go hiking? Do we want to go geocaching? And I was like, oh yeah, they got this really cool pool. It's called a Liberty Bell pool because it's in the shape of a Liberty Bell, and it's a huge pool. Everyone could look it up online if they want to. It's called the Liberty Bell FDR State Park. You'll see a ton of pictures, and it's been around since the park opened. I think the park opened in the late 30s, so it's been around for a while. But I told Deidre, I was like, let's go swimming, and we're like, I think Luke's still over there because I think you already left because we went grocery shopping at the Walmart in town that was like 18 miles away, and we got all our stuff and everything. We thought we were going to see you when we came back, but you were already gone. But we saw Luke that was still there. So we decided we wanted to go swimming, and we wanted to see if Luke was over there, and he wanted to go swimming. So we go over by your site, and he is he is laying down in his tent with the top off, the rain fly off, and it looks like he's in a sauna. I'm like, I didn't want to approach him because I wasn't sure if he was sleeping or working or whatever. And I approached his tent, and I was like, hey, and he pops up. He's like, hey, what's up? And he was sweating like crazy. And I was like, hey, you want to go swimming? He's like, there's a swimming pool here? I was like, oh yeah, there's a swimming pool. So we went to the swimming pool, we packed some drinks, and we had a lot of fun that day. And like later on, we thought we were going to do something with him, but he wasn't feeling good, so he packed up and left. And then after that, we walked around. I did a little reminiscing about when I was a kid, and this was here, that was there, this is new, this is old, So that's what we did that first day. But I love that pool, and we had a lot of fun with Luke. So I don't know how much more you want me to tell you. So if you want me to tell you about the next day we went to Callaway, and I've been going to Callaway forever, and they've got all kinds of new things. And we went to the butterfly exhibit, and we went to the beach. We didn't swim at the beach. We did some geocaching at the beach. But my main reason, I don't think I told anyone, I don't think I've said it on the show, but my main reason for going to Callaway is because they have, back when I was a kid, Florida State has a circus program. And during the summer, all the students from the circus program, they do shows at Callaway during the summer. And I'm a big circus guy. I love all that kind of stuff. So I really wanted to see the circus. So we went there and we saw the circus, and it was amazing. And we had a lot of fun. We were the only two adults without kids there, so it felt kind of weird. But then afterwards, there was a magic show, and I love magic. So it was like 2 for 1. We did that. We saw the magic show. That was fun, and we had a great time. We did another geocache after that, and we went to this little diner in town, and we were the only ones there. And he was a big Hawaii guy, and we got talking to them about our trip to Hawaii, and he spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and it was just good conversation with people, and it felt really nice and relaxing. And we went we went back to the pop-up and slept, and the next day we got up and we walked around a little bit, and then it was time to leave, unfortunately. And that was what we did for the most part. But
Skip and Daniel.
Well, Daniel, one of the things that I was surprised to see, I know you bragged a lot about Callaway Gardens, and
Love it.
And if anybody wants to go online and see what this is all about, you can do that. But I was kind of surprised to see it was that close in proximity.
Oh yeah,
to FDR State Park.
Oh yeah,
It was
2
a
miles.
stone's throw away, yes, because you passed it on the way in.
Yeah.
But we talked about Luke being in that tent. He had a hammock set up.
Yeah.
Before I left, I'm surprised he wasn't in that.
Oh no, he was in the tent, but it was a screen. He probably didn't want to get bit up by all the mosquitoes and stuff because there's a little bit of a bug problem there. But I mean, you roll with it like anything else. But yeah, he was in there, and he had a lot of fun at the pool. It was a lot of fun. I like that.
I really wish I could have seen that Liberty
I
Bell
know.
pool.
That's all we talked about was, we can't believe Skip left. Why didn't he leave? He should have stuck it out. We would have helped him dry it out. We We're talking about
Daniel,
you the whole time.
Daniel, there was no drying that out.
Well,
there was absolutely no drying
They
it
had
out.
washers and dryers there. So.
No, believe me. And you know, I'm sure other folks have been in this situation before and have really been depressed about, you know,
We
their
were
camping
depressed
trips.
to see you go.
Not as much as I was.
Yeah, that was the biggest downer about the whole trip. Everything else was great, but like the fact that you left, not to give you a guilt trip or anything, but that really put a damper on our mood too.
Well, you know, I paid for 3 days.
Yeah.
And even though I spent just one night, you know, I left the site to Luke, because anytime that I make a camp reservation, I don't care where it is at. I don't care if I'm by myself. I always make the reservation for 2 people because you just never know at the last minute if someone may join us.
Yep.
Okay. So, you know, in this case, you know, when I told Luke that we were going on this camping trip, he says, "What are the dates?" And I told him, he says, "Count me in."
Yeah.
So, you know, I did get there first, and, you know, he showed up. He was coming from Kentucky, so he had a little bit of a drive ahead of him. But, you know, he got down there, and even just for spending a little bit of time with him, it was well worth it. But we cooked a half-decent breakfast that morning. You know, if I would have known you were coming over, I would have saved you some eggs and sausage.
Yeah,
but, you know,
I think we already ate, so, you know, I got some coffee. I'm good.
Yeah, but, hey, better camping days are ahead.
I hope so.
That is for certain. So, you know, we'll be planning another trip very soon.
Yep.
You know, and I'll, most likely I'll be joining you. You know, if
we'll try to maybe do something later in the, maybe in the fall or something. I know Luke was talking about him going down to Cumberland Island, and if we were interested in going with him, that you know, we're more than welcome to join him. And that sounded like a lot of fun. We were pretty pumped about that. So. We'll see how that goes, and you know, that'll be another story for the show too. So I'm excited. You never know. It's weird. You think that you want to do certain things, go certain places, but it kind of just plans itself. Like at the beginning of the year, I never thought about going to Callaway or FDR, and it just, you know, it kind of just hits me. It just sparks inside of me, and I just do whatever. I don't know, just go with it.
Well, I can promise you this, Daniel. I will be in better spirits the next time we go camping. Okay, so yeah. And speaking of camping, it's time now for our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
And Daniel, while we're on the subject, why don't we talk about FDR State Park?
All right.
Okay, and the FDR State Park campground, where Daniel and I went ahead and camped. It's a 9,000-acre. Daniel,
It's the biggest in Georgia.
It's
got all
actually
kinds of trails.
No,
and
you're
everything.
right about that. It's the largest in the state. I'm just throwing my hands out here saying, Daniel, you've been down there. I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a hiker's paradise, backpacker's paradise. Many visitors are surprised to find the rolling mountains 80 miles south of Atlanta. Above Kings Gap is Dowell's Knob. I've never heard of it, but apparently that's where President Franklin Delano Roosevelt sometime picnicked and pondered world affairs.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's the park has several wonderful amenities down there. They've got the Liberty Bell Pool, like you've talked about there. Some fishing lakes are available, the campground itself, and I was really surprised.
Horseback riding?
Yeah, I was really surprised at how clean and well kept the campground is. Even the bathhouse. Yeah, you know, I asked you a couple weeks ago, Dan, you think they got an air conditioner in there? And no, but hey, I want to tell you what, I was really surprised how well that property is kept. And you know, even if the weather had been better than it was, I was parked that close.
Oh yeah, you were right there.
Yeah, I mean, I could walk right over there. Yeah, so you know, that was a real treat for me. But you know, take a look at some of the activities and amenities are right there on their website. Plenty of things. They've got canoe and kayak rentals, picnicking, like Daniel says, horseback riding, geocaching, stargazing, a whole lot of things you can do right down there. And it's just a wonderful, well-kept park. Weather conditions being as they are next time, I don't care what it is, whatever it may be, I'll tell Mother Nature, bring it on. I'll be ready for you.
Boy.
But Daniel, you know, you've been there several times before. I definitely want to go again. it's not going to give me any bad memories to return. It's just one of those things that happened.
Yep.
But it happened to me for the last time as a primitive camper, and I'm not going to let that happen again. But, we may take another visit down there, and if you happen to be in Georgia, if you happen to be passing through South Georgia, a great park you might want to consider, it's the FDR Roosevelt State Park in Georgia. Check them out. I'll have a link to it all week long on Happy Camper Radio. It's our featured campground of the week, right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Skip and Daniel on happycamperradio.com.
And if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the show, definitely get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or this guy right here,
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Well, Daniel, let's finish drying out. Let's plan our next trip. I'm sure it's not going to be too far down the road. And that's going to wrap up this edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Daniel, you're looking good today.
Yeah.
I expected all kind of fancy colors. You're wearing the test screen today.
I've been wearing the same thing for 2 days. That's what happens when I'm off.
Oh, that's what I'm smelling clear across the room.
Oh, boy.
Remember, friends, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly like I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us on the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be a part of our studio audience by subscribing to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. This guy's a happy camper. Woo-wee. And you better believe it, folks. We're going to make a happy camper out of you. Talk again real soon. This is Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.